Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. And today I felt like I've been seeing a couple videos like this kind of circulating around, and I felt like I wanted to take some time and maybe just kind of talk about why I do what I do. Okay. Maybe just an updated version of it. I don't there's it's kind of changed a lot, I think, over the years. Um, One thing that you will notice is over my shoulder for the longest time, you would see my Wasp banner that I got, from waspnation.com. And that was my kind of my backdrop until you saw this monstrosity behind me. Um, just so everybody knows, the original thought process I was going to do with this channel was I just wanted to do a Wasp series. And then that would be that, maybe do stuff with, Ben and Jason Carson and and Metal Roger and JD when he was with us as part of the North and South Rock and Metal Connection. Maybe do a panel here and there. Uh, but my thought process when I started this was really never to do a weekly show quite the way we've done it since. But credit John the Music Nut. When he came on board with me to do the Wasp series, he was the one that kept. Ah, it's like we should keep going. We're really, this has been it's been a great ride so far, and he's right. Here it is a year and a half later, and starting Wednesday. You're going to see this coming Wednesday. You'll see the first episode of Up to the Limit, which will be the Accept series that John and I will be doing with a different guest every single album. So no repeats like we did with Judas Priest, no big panels, nothing like that. It's going to be a different guest for every single album. And that's amazes me that, that I could pull that off. But anyway, um, but why do I do what I do? Do I claim to be the most proficient, the most knowledgeable about music? No. Just because I got a stupid collection behind me doesn't really mean that I'm an impulsive person, I guess you could say. So there's a lot of times I will impulse buy. There's also a lot of collections of bands. So, like I can already see where like my Zeppelin is up at the top shelf here. Some of that top row, that's all my Zeppelin and Robert Plant CDs and things like that. There's another shelf that's got a lot of Eric Clapton. Um, to my left, um, over here in my room, I have another section just dedicated to a couple of bands with some large catalogs, and probably be just for some new stuff that I'll be getting into or whatever it may be. But there's a lot of stuff I tend to buy as more of an impulsive. So um mainly because some of it was stuff I liked over the years and regretted getting rid of or whatever it was. But I I do love music. And yeah, the curse is real, folks. I I enjoy collecting. Um, so when we can get a band that I'm really big into, and again, I give John the Music Nut a lot of credit for this. He was the one that suggested, well, I think both of us were in agreement with doing Armored Saint because we wanted to tackle that because they were going to do another leg of a tour with Wasp. Well, unfortunately, Blackie's back injuries took care of that. But we still did the tour. We still did the series. Um, we did Dangerous Toys. We did Judas Priest. That was John's suggestion. Hey, what do you think about doing Judas Priest? Yeah, heck yeah, I could talk Judas Priest. um, so there's certain bands that we've done this with, and Accept is going to be the same way. It's like, yeah, I could talk Accept. Yeah, that was in our brainstorms. We just kind of listed a bunch of bands that we could talk about. Not all of them are metal, and so I hope that when John and I, if we keep going, which I hope we do, I hope that when there's a couple of bands that we talk about that, is the furthest thing from Judas Priest or Accept or Wasp, that I hope I would still get some views, and some, hopefully some new subscribes. I don't claim to be the best at going about doing that, but you would hope that, people are still checking out what I do, you know, and then hopefully it's checking out what John the Music Nut's doing, because he's got a channel too. So good plug for him there. I don't claim to be, you know, a professor of any kind of genre or band. A lot of what I do really comes from the heart. That Wasp series, especially, I think if anything, I show a passion for what I do and for what I do with this channel. I'm certainly not doing it for any monetary versions. Although it wouldn't hurt right about now, but that's another topic for another day. Um, but I feel like it's just, I want to do it because I have a passion for music and this is an outlet. This room that you see me doing these videos in, this is like a sanctuary for me, especially over these last few months and maybe a couple of years. This room has kind of become a sanctuary for me. You know, I've been dealing, the pandemic has brought a lot of mental health issues for me. Um, again, not stuff I really want to get into. So doing the panel shows, doing the videos with John, doing the videos with the rock and metal, North and South rock and metal connection, whatever it is. I mean, I'm in this room and this is a sanctuary. So this is like my if the Anvil wasn't already a happy place for me, the Anvil Pub Bar and Grill, by the way, or the Anvil Pub and Grill, which if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you know that I post pictures every Sunday of their brunch special. But anyway, this is like a happy place for me. Just listening to the music and being a part of the music. So that's really why I do it. Um, it's just me to be here in my happy place, and to be amongst friends that I can connect with wherever part of the world they're in, whether they're in Australia where Peter Kerr and Harrison and Bicycle Legs are, or New Zealand where Steve Deluxe is, from Rock and Metal Invasion, whether it's in Canada where Metal Roger and Mike Ladano, um, you know, Jax Russell and some of the other Canadians, Martin Popoff and Marco Diaria, all these people that I've had the pleasure of getting to know through the Contrarians, whether they're in England, where or the UK, or Norway, where my good pal Paul is. Ovi Rendum is there. I'm sure I'm missing some Venezuela, where my friend Leo that I met back in 2007 in Venezuela. Yeah, even though we don't do a show together, I'd love to. So Leo, if you're watching this, come on, let's maybe we can have a little connection here. But there's people all across the country, John the Music Nut, Ryan Gavalier, Grant Arthur, um, Todd Evans, the rock and metal, the North and South rock and metal connection guys, Nick Esquire. And I know I'm going to forget a bunch of people, but, you know, um, you know, I've been, Joe B, Peter Jones, Jake Knott from State Farm. The list goes on and on and on and on. There's been some wonderful people that I've been introduced to, and I've not even met in person. John the Music Nut and Nick Esquire and Ben and Jason Carson are really the only ones I've met in person, and J.D. Akins too. Everybody else I've never had the chance to meet them in person. So one day I'll get to do that. But I realize this is just a long rant, a long tangent. But if one other thing I want to talk about is, I was on a show with Grant on Grant's Rock Warehouse, and we talked about bands where you could see the cracks forming. And my approach to how I approach My approach to that was a little different. I looked at that as I looked behind the scenes. So when I picked Striper, the reason I picked Striper, well, Tim Gaines, the original bass player, was dealing with some issues. So they had some studio guy come in, but Tim's still on the cover and would do the subsequent tour. And then he was still out again on In God We Trust. So there's still some issues behind the scenes going on that would eventually lead to Michael Sweet leaving, and Striper would be on hiatus for about 10 years, give or take. There'd be a lot of turmoil with Tim Gaines, unfortunately, um, off and on. Um, but Striper was able to see those cracks, and they were able to fill them in because, okay, maybe they're not selling platinum albums like they did, in the late 80s, early 90s, but they're making some of the best music they've ever done. And so my hat's off to Michael Sweet for that. Yet on part two, I pick Wasp and I pick Boston. Okay, Wasp, maybe a weird choice with The Last Command, but here again, the original band is splintering. After that album, Randy Piper was out. Within another two albums, Chris Holmes was out, Steve Riley was out, and he'd have to start from, he was basically having to start from scratch. Okay, have they sold the amount of albums that they did with Last Command and the first album, or Inside the Electric Circus or Headless Children? No. But in my opinion, Blackie's putting some of the best music out. He's, if anything, eclipses what some of those first couple albums are. Those first couple albums are amazing. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I love the first album. It's still my second favorite album by the band, second only to Crimson Idol. I love Last Command, but some of the songs haven't aged as well for me. Inside the Electric Circus, again, some of the songs haven't aged so well for me. I picked Boston. Well, the crack already was there when the first album came out. Tom Scholz. I'm sorry. Tom was he was a micromanager. He knew exactly what he wanted to get. And he did not want to kowtow to any record label or business management or whatever it was. And that was going to be a problem, and the band splinters off. Barry Goodrow does a solo album with 3/5 of Boston, and well, that sends Tom over the edge. He fires him. Okay. So there's a lot of these turmoil, and Boston never made the same kind of music again, as far as I'm concerned. Their music just was not the same. Bought that first Boston album, fantastic album. Fantastic album. Okay. But behind the scenes, that's where the cracks were. It may not, everybody else was kind of picking albums where you could tell the album was a lot of crap. I approached it a little different. So I hope that gives a little insight to anybody who maybe questions me or trolls me or whatever. But we all hear things just a little different, and maybe we all see things a little different. So that's kind of where I approach that. But I really believe a lot of what I do, it's really just because it's fun. Um, it's an outlet. It's a mental health outlet for me. Like I said, just to be in this little sanctuary of sorts. It to me, it's a mental health break for me. It's a mental health prescription. I don't know what it is to call it, but because I've had some stuff going on in my personal life. But again, I don't need to talk about that. That's not for public forum. That's a totally different thing. No, it has nothing to do with my marriage. For those who know I'm married, no, it has nothing to do with that. Okay, just we're good. Okay, so if you're doing this because you just want to get your name out there, which I know in some way we all do. If you're wanting it, you want to make sure you're doing what you're doing is for the right reason. And if it's not out of fun, if it's not to be able to congregate with fellow music friends, or musicians or fans or whatever, collectors, if the reasons are far for other reasons other than just just maybe just wanting to build community and friendship and fun, and maybe see things differently than from comments. I don't know, but you got to find the right reason of wanting to do what we do. And so, and who am I to talk? I have like 540 something subscribers, 547, I think it is. I'm not at the levels of hundred thousands or 10,000 or even 1,000 really. One day maybe I'll get there, but I'm not losing sleep over that. But and I'm not knocking people who have 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Hey, you're doing a good product. People and people are able to find you, and people are watching you, and that's great. You know, maybe I'm not interesting enough. I don't know. I'm not trying to figure that part out, but I want to do it for fun. And I hope you all see it out there. I hope you see some passion come from me. And keep liking, keep sharing, keep watching, keep subscribing. Check out all the other channels. They are all doing great content. Okay. So I know this was a long rant, and but I hope y'all stay till the end. And I just really just want to take the time just to thank everybody, really, because you know, you know, I love doing it. I really do, and I hope you see that. So anyway, rock forever, everybody. John the Clouser, John the Music, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. And hey, we'll catch you soon. Um, like I said, Wednesday night, same bad time, same bad channel, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Starting the Accept series. We got Martin Popoff to kick it off this week. Next week, we have BM Bolt from Grants Rock Warehouse. We have many other people lined up as we go through the Accept series. So I hope you tune into that, and I hope you chime in, whether it's in the live chat, whether it's in comments. If you're a fan of the band, hit me up in my, follow me on social media, whether it's Facebook or X, or even though I hardly ever use X, Instagram, Threads. I don't do TikTok or Snapchat or any of that nonsense, but, seek me out, and, let's talk. Okay. So, anyway, John Clouser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from the music corner of the world. Rock for everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for the beginning of the series of Up to the Limit. Take care, everybody.